gone on a date?
Ish.
Okay.
Not really.
What's ish? Get into it. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Danny, you could start this time.
Okay, go ahead, Danny.
Okay. I thought that he was going to get into it.
I know, I thought so too.
Right. I'll take the lead. Um, I guess we can say ish because we really didn't go on a formal date.
Okay.
Again, filming was very long, and towards the end of it, most of everything was closed. So I think everyone was just tired and hungry.
Hmm.
So step to the side, we heard people talking about, where they want to eat, and we were also hungry. So we heard plans of going somewhere to eat. We went there and nobody else was there but us. So I guess that's a
Oh,
date. Yeah.
okay. So, I mean, it was just you two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then
But
why is that not a date? I'm so confused.
okay, fine, it's not a date. But
Yeah.
it was everything was closing too. I'm gonna say it's not a date.
Yeah. That's not really.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a date
Yeah.
because you guys had planned to meet other people there and then it ended up being just you
We
two,
didn't.
or
We didn't have enough time to really bond, and then we were tired. My flight was at 11 o'clock, and it's already like 1:20, 1:30 by the time we got there. So,
oh, okay, so you guys didn't spend enough time together, basically.
yeah.
It was
Oh,
it was two people meeting up at the same location.
okay.
Yeah.
So y'all just ate, no conversation, and that was it.
We
We
spoke some.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah, it wasn't that it was a blur. I think, as she said, the realizations of how the show really works, all that dawned on. We're tired, so we made the most of our time, and I
Okay.
think I had my ride had come before hers. I'm like, yeah, I'll hit you up later, and then I got into Uber, and I'm like, wait, I didn't even get her number, so I had to run back and get it. I
Oh
was
my
tired, so
God.
it was
Okay,
funny.
so you guys went back to your homes. How
Yeah,
was the communication like? I know you guys said you just went on, that was the only time you guys hung out. After that, there were no other dates.
yeah.
Okay, what happened? Did you guys talk at all after this? Like, let me know. Let's hear from you, Mola.
Yeah, we spoke really two times
Okay.
since then. We were on the phone for quite a bit, but she had my schedule was more available at that time, and she had already had trips pre-planned. And when she came back from the trips, she was sick, so I did not have as much communication as I preferred.
Okay, so you guys spoke on the phone. Like, tell me more. I'm like, you rushing through it, but I'm not getting no details. What's
Yeah, we spoke on the phone. We spoke on the phone about twice.
Okay.
More of the time, it was a little bit about the show and the reception. I think another surprise
Okay.
was we expected our show would air later, but we were the next thing, so that kind of caught everyone off guard.
Okay.
So we
So
got we got
in
to know each other a little bit. She told me about her experiences, Haitian American experiences growing up in Florida, and things of that nature, which was cool.
Okay.
Things I'd seen on TV were, her real life experience, so that was cool to learn. But we didn't really get too much into one another in terms of like our core beliefs and things of that nature. We didn't get too deep.
Okay. Danny, I see you making faces. Let's hear from you. Tell me about it.
I wear my feelings on my sleeve. I'll start where I agree is that yes, after the show, we decided to keep the communication going. He said that he's not a texter, and I'm good in like any form, texting, calling, I can do whatever. So I kind of lean on the person's preference. But the thing is that I'm just used to FaceTime, but is a Android user, so I didn't know I had to schedule a call with him on Teams. Like I use Teams for work, and when I clock out, that's it. So that was one thing. But as far as the communication goes, like talking about like morals, I feel like we got into it. If anything, I feel like that's what kind of like rubbed me the wrong way because some of the conversations that we were having, I was like, oh, I don't know about that.
Uh-oh. Like what?
To his point, yes, our show did air super quick. So I I did love the fact that I was the last person to go out because I have no perception of what happened. So I'm giving him a clean slate. I don't know what transpired before me. I don't know what, right?
Hmm.
So we planned. He asked if did I want to watch the show with him, and I said I had already planned to watch it with some family and friends because they are just now finding out that I even did this. Like I kind of snuck it. So I basically told him like I'm gonna watch it with them, and
Hmm.
this is the first time I've ever seen the show. I didn't see anybody else go up, so just watching him interact with some of the other people on the show, and my family and friends saying, "Oh my gosh, what's up with this guy? He's getting on this girl. He's getting on this girl. Hopefully you didn't match with him." And in my head, I'm like,
Uh-oh.
yeah, like, hold on, wait a minute. Because again, I don't know. Like I'm watching it
Yeah.
with them, and it's in when we get to me, I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense why when I went up there, he was drilling me and asking me so much questions because he was doing that with everyone else. I just thought that he was a man who was just doing his due diligence and making sure that he matches with somebody and it makes sense.
Hmm.
So I didn't feel any way. Like I felt very confident about the match, but going off camera and communicating outside of that, I was like, oh, okay, like this is a little bit concerning about some of the things that he was saying.
Concerning. Okay. What was concerning that you would say is something that he had said?
Um, this is in reference to us watching the show back. So at
Uh-huh.
this point, I've already watched the show back with my peoples. I already have
Yeah.
an opinion, whatever. So I basically asked him, how did he view himself on the show, or how did he think that he did? Because again, we know that this is being viewed by so many people. Of
Yeah.
course, like you want to be authentic, but also you want to make a good impression too, because you don't know
Hmm.
who's going to do this. You don't know if you're going to match on here. And he made a comment and basically said that, oh, he thinks he did well, which is great. He has a high esteem. But he basically said something about, I was like, have you seen the comments? And he said, oh, the people in the comments, if they don't agree with me, it's probably people who are fatherless or baby mamas or
Oh,
something like that. And I said,
Mola.
yeah. So, I'm digging deeper and I'm trying to figure out why does he have this mindset? Because
Hmm.
me going on the show, I wanted to represent and not perpetuate any stereotypes that are associated with the Black culture.
Mm.
That's so it just felt bad to hear it coming from a Black man because these are some of the comments or rhetoric that we hear pushed from people outside of the culture. So I
Mm.
had to dig deeper and figure out, why do you
What's
think this
going
way?
on?
Yeah, what's going on? So just like in our conversation, we discovered that okay, like we have two different beliefs, and that's just what that was. I don't know if he can dive deeper into why he feels that way with you, but
Okay.
Yeah, there's not too much deeper to dive if you want me to. Yeah. So yeah, I don't remember the specific comment, but that sounds like something I would say. Um, I actually
Okay.
I still haven't watched the episode fully. That
Okay.
was I think that's one of your longest episodes. So yeah. But no, I didn't watch the episode. I just used the AI tool. I downloaded all the comments, and then I just kind of had to analyze and like, hey, what was any reference regards to me?
Okay.
So yeah, I just had the raw comments, and I saw the things that were being said, and it's like, oh, this person is controlling. He wants to take over so and so, and well, I know I didn't say anything like that, and
Mm.
we know how things actually transpired on set. So it was interesting to see perception versus reality. Like there were no there were no issues with anyone on set, but how people perceive it and the comments that were made. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, if that's
Okay.
if that's how you took this, you're probably coming from a very kind of different lifestyle.
Okay, I see. So this all was discussed in the conversation you guys had. Like you told him that this is what you saw, your viewpoint, all of that.
No.
Oh, this is your
this
first time hearing this, Mola?
oh, well, no, it's not. It's not his first time hearing this because one, yes, this was our very last conversation, and after that is when I reached out to him and I said, I don't want to continue talking for reasons why I just don't feel like we align morally. That was one of the things. The other thing is I said he cussed like a sailor, and I feel like that conversation should be reserved for men in a barbershop somewhere. But it makes me feel uncomfortable. That's another thing. I just think that, there's some humility that is lacking, or you even being like self-actualized, because even in the comment that you made, you said, their perception versus reality. Honestly, the show is subjective. So, because there are people who agree with you, there are people who've seen you and it was like, this is just a man who knows what he wants, And there are some people who somebody said he's probably a serial killer, but they can't prove it yet. So I don't think that it's split though. I think that there was an overwhelming amount of people who view you in a way they don't know you. So,
Yeah.
like, their opinion is nothing. But also I know that specifically for the person who I want to be with, or the man who I want to lead me, I want him to have a high esteem for our culture, regardless of what other people are doing. So when I heard that, that was a red flag, because again, not only Haitian, that was another thing. People were trying to argue about my ethnic background, my nationality. I'm Black. That is my race. My nationality, I was born and raised in United States, and my parents are Haitian, both of them. So that's my ethnicity. So that's another thing I wanted to clear up. But those are just things that just was a red flag for me. So I had to exit stage left.
Okay.
Yeah, but to clarify something in regards to the last conversation. So, I mean, on Sunday, we hadn't really spoken much, and at this point, because she did mention that she's a texter, I'm not a texter. I'll do video calls or, voice calls, maximum. Maybe you call me old school, but the fact that we're already across the country, this is
Where are you located
communication.
again?
I'm in Chicagoland area.
Chicago, and you're in Florida.
No,
Y'all
I'm
really
in,
that far?
I'm
Oh,
in
you're in
Dallas.
Dallas, but you're from Florida.
Yes.
Okay,
We're
okay, okay.
Chicago time.
You guys are in the same time zone.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in the same time zone, but I mean the distance. It's not like I could say, "Hey, we didn't
Yeah,
we
like,
didn't have enough time last time. Let's go out and actually feel you and in person." That's my point.
Okay.
So yeah, with that, her traveling and then her getting sick and us not interacting much, I was already kind of the minimum amount of communication, and like we said, we didn't get too deep into one another, or at least she was observing things and having her own conclusion, but we didn't really have much of conversation where I could feel her out. So I'd messaged her really quickly and asked her what she thought about one of us traveling. Really, I meant me coming to Dallas because I have friends all over Texas, so I wanted to go check them out, and I saw that as an opportunity for us to like hang out and actually feel each other out in person. And she had responded with like a 7-minute voice message. So that's where some of the comments that she's talking about, they were sent. I didn't listen to the whole thing because
Oh,
there's no
why
song
not?
in my playlist that's 7 minutes. So I skimmed through it, but that's where I heard everything at the end. So at that
And
point, I
that
said,
was
all
the
right.
last point of communication, was you sending that voice note to him?
Yeah. So it was communicated. He just didn't care to actually receive it. And
Listen.
that's not my fault. I did my due diligence. I gave you that closure instead of what it was. So we can't sit on this call and act like I never heard that, because that's your own choice.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, we're adults. We could speak. I don't.
Yeah.
If you can respond in 5 minutes, you could give a call.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. So to his credit, he did try to organize some type of meet for sure. I think at that point I was just already like not there.
So do you guys feel like you gave this like a fair chance or a fair shot? Because for me, what it sounds like is like, for Mola, once you guys were kind of having like, oh, well, you don't really communicate how I want to communicate. Like you guys kind of weren't meeting there. I feel like you kind of checked out. And then for you, Danny, I feel like once you saw the show with your family and you read the comments and like, you got a whole different like viewpoint of him, you kind of checked out there. So do you guys feel like you even actually got to know each other, or were there like other things that kind of just stopped you at that point?
I think we had genuine conversation. I think it was just
Okay.
circled around the show because that's all that was talked about. Instead of, we did have a really nice heart to heart immediately after the show when we walked off, he was talking to me about his family, and that was
Okay.
great. So that set the tone. It just didn't follow after, which was disappointing. Because why are we talking about the show? Why are we talking about other people on the show? You know?
Mola, do you feel like you guys gave it a fair shot?
Uh, I don't know.
I guess I'll ask you, do you feel like you tried or like you had any interest in trying to get
Yeah, I
somewhere?
did. I was the one who was more available.
Okay.
I don't. Our communication difference wasn't something that we even spoke about. It was more for me. It was frequency. I mean, I was
Okay.
available. She was preoccupied. So, after a few weeks, and again, given the distance, it's one thing if we could just meet up very quickly and in person. But if you're all the way across the country and we can barely get one another on the phone, I'm not. My mind is already elsewhere at this point. So,
Okay.
for the
Danny, your
integrity
face
of
is
everything.